Why was the YA Sci-fi Dystopian Book to movie pipeline so popular? The idea of a teenager saving the world is a bit ludicrous when there's adults around. Why could dystopian issues only be fixed by children? Back in the 2010s, a ton of popular young adult dystopian books were adapted into movies. Being a young person doesn't mean that you're incapable of doing amazing things. But teenagers saving the world in dystopias on the regular? I mean, come on. Think about if that happened in real life. Just interrupting the video to let you know I put some skits in here. I apologize for nothing. Actually, I apologize in advance. Mr. President, the rebellion is going horribly. Don't worry, I have a plan. We need to fight back against the society. And we will, just in due time. We've been hiding underground for 2 weeks. A necessary precaution so we don't get murdered. No more hiding. What we need is a teenager to save us. A teenager? Yeah, a teenager. But I'm an adult with military training. I'll lead the uprising. We're saved! Aren't you like 15? I just turned 16 the other day. No. It's illegal for you to drive past 11. How did you get here? You know, my 2 love interests, Kayla and Carla, will also want to join me on the front lines. We are not. No, it's time to fight because I'm getting bored down here in this bunker. I'm gonna project myself on every screen throughout the rebellion with my super convenient to the plot phone hacking skills. Oh, for goodness sake. People of the rebellion, we are not worms that hide underground when it rains. We are dragons that breathe fire in the thunderstorm. For tomorrow, oh my gosh, Mom, don't FaceTime me right now. I'm in the middle of an inspirational war speech. It's midnight. You should be in bed, honey bun. Mom, everybody can see you right now. I'm projecting my screen throughout the rebellion. Oh, how embarrassing. I'm in my jammies. Young adult literature wasn't always the machine it is today. In the past, there were kids' books and there were adult books. Young adult protagonists were kind of shoehorned wherever they fit. The first book series really considered to be YA-esque was Little House on the Prairie. We can thank Conestoga Wagon Stories for Katniss Everdeen. Then there were other novels with YA protagonists like A Wrinkle in Time and Catcher in the Rye. But the first widely accepted YA novel was The Outsiders in 1967. The 1970s to the mid-1980s were when people really started separating young adult books into their own category. Then there was Harry Potter. My English accent is terrible.
Judge me accordingly.
While Harry Potter started out as middle grade, it did do 2 things that eventually paved the way for the YA dystopia era. First, it showed that children's books could make a lot of money, and second, it showed that movies based on children's books could also make a lot of money. So at the end of the day, it was all about money. And publishers saw potential in YA, baby, because of money. Now, laying the groundwork for the YA dystopian era, it's important for us to understand a few things about the late 2000s. First of all, Twilight was a thing that existed. The initial Twilight novel was published in 2005, and the first film was released in 2008. I'm not sure why we enjoyed that franchise so much. A teenager dating an undead senior citizen is a bit weird, and Team Jacob, okay? I'm still not over it after all these years because at least Jacob had a beating heart. In the late 2000s, the Harry Potter books and movies were doing well. Twilight books and movies were also doing well. And in the YA book space, dystopias were thriving. And, you know, the economy tanked in 2008. A lot of young people were afraid about the future because, like, how am I gonna get a job? How am I gonna make any money? You know, it was stressful. 2008 was a perfect environment for the YA dystopian genre. A utopia is a society where everything's perfect. People are happy. The system works. But a dystopia is where everything goes to hell. So young adults at the time were like, oh my gosh, the economy sucks, and these YA dystopian books make me feel better. Because if you think you have problems, it makes you feel better to see other people's dystopian train wrecks. The first Hunger Games novel was released in 2008, which was the perfect time for it. And the Hunger Games has been credited for igniting the YA dystopian flame. Notable YA sci-fi dystopias that followed included 2009's Maze Runner, 2010's Matched, 2011's Divergent, and 2012's The Selection. I personally loved YA dystopia during its peak. I loved it so much, in fact, I wrote one. It was never published, okay? A bunch of agents requested it when I queried it, blah, 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 nobody cares. Who knows? Maybe in an alternate universe, Space Station the Black Spot would have been a footnote in the YA dystopian era, but I guess we'll never know. So if you're an agent and you're watching this and you're interested, just let me know and I'll query you. Don't look at me like that. I have to try. Anyway, YA dystopia was big business, and many YA dystopias have shared similar elements that have become iconic. Are you the life coach for YA Sci-fi Dystopian protagonists? I sure am. I don't really feel like I'm living up to the hype. That's classic imposter syndrome. Yeah, I feel kind of inadequate. Don't you worry. I have a checklist I use on all my clients for just that. A checklist for what? To see if you're a good YA sci-fi protagonist, yes? That seems weird. And yet it works because you all share so many common elements. Now let's just jump into it, shall we? Question 1. Do you or anybody you know have a personality? Okay, what exactly do you mean by have a personality? No personality? Check. No, wait a second. Question 2. Do you feel like a powerless member of a society that represses its citizens through a nightmarish way that's cool to read about but completely impossible? The society's dinosaur robots that destroy our farms are scary, okay? Perfect. Next question. Do you find yourself in the center of a love triangle even though those are basically impossible in real life? Carla and Kayla are both amazing. Well, I guess I've never really thought about how they're different. Fascinating. I think Carla has black hair and Kayla has red hair. Congratulations! There's no need to fear. You are a perfect example of a cookie-cutter YA sci-fi dystopian protagonist. Successful dystopian novels often criticize an element of our society. The first big YA dystopian film to come out during this era was The Hunger Games, in which we, the viewers, criticized a society in which people watch kids kill each other for entertainment while also simultaneously watching kids kill each other for our own entertainment. I mean, it was like the circle of life. Hunger Games was released on March 23rd, 2012. The final Harry Potter movie came out the summer before, and the final Twilight movie was coming out November of that year. The timing of the Hunger Games movie, just like the book, was perfect. With these YA movies, people were obsessed with the actors playing the characters and the characters themselves. The actors themselves became like a phenomenon. So Hunger Games comes out, and it was a moment in pop culture. At this point, YA movie franchises were proven to be popular, and all the studios had FOMO. Like, you didn't see a ton of wizard movies when the Harry Potter movies were coming out, and you didn't see a ton of vampire movies when the Twilight movies were coming out. The YA book to movie pipeline was untested at that point. But by Hunger Games, sci-fi dystopian YA novels were all the rage. Other studios were convinced they needed their own YA sci-fi dystopian franchise. So that's how that happened. Many YA dystopian franchises were launched, but none lived up to the hype of the Hunger Games, or Twilight, or Harry Potter. Trends come and trends go. Sometimes the death of a trend is silent. Society kind of forgets and everybody quietly moves on. Other times the death of a trend is loud. Okay, I don't actually know a scenario where the death of a trend was loud. If you can think of any, just put it in the comments. But mostly, trends kind of die because people move on. And sometimes some people never move on from past trends. Some people still have mullets. And some people wouldn't mind if an agent reached out to them and asked for them to query Space Station the Black Spot. I'm kidding, but damn me. By the mid-2010s, the economy was doing better. The Hunger Games films were experiencing diminishing returns, so in the midst of this, YA sci-fi dystopia died a quiet death. Maybe people in general were feeling happier and didn't want to be brought down by dystopias. Maybe people felt like they were living in a real dystopia and didn't want to relive their reality on screen. I don't really know. Not every big YA sci-fi dystopian book series was turned into a movie franchise. Some of them, I'm pretty sure, would have been amazing. But for those that were made, the Maze Runner film series did okay. People lost interest in Divergent so bad they actually never finished the film franchise. Ender's Game and The Giver never made it past the first movie. They tried making The Darkest Minds a YA franchise in 2018, but they completely missed the boat on that one. YA dystopia peaked at the end, it seems, of general YA movie to film hype. YA sci-fi dystopian will never die, but it's never gonna be what it was in the 2010s. A Hunger Games prequel is set to be released at the end of 2023, and Netflix is working on adapting the selection. We, as a society, will always want to hear stories about teenagers who can save a messed up dystopian world. We will always look for love triangles and, yes, occasional bland characters that somehow make us feel alive. But seriously, if there's a literary agent out there that wants me to query space, you know what's not always enjoyable? Disney Plus. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you want to know why Disney Plus is kind of bad, click on this video next.